Yes. Can you check this? I did. I just applied a technical. All right. Are you guys ready? All right. Everybody in the audience is ready? Here we go.
Hello. My name is Maddie, and this is Rose. And we are doing the topic of food insecurity in North Korea. We are going to address the causes and possible solutions to this problem. So first I'd like to start off with a definition of food insecurity. So food insecurity is defined by the Asia Pacific Center for Security Studies as a lack of access by all to sufficient food for an active, healthy life. Nations that are food insecure suffer from the inability to support the needs of some or all of their population because of lack of food or unavailability to it. Food insecurity can cause starvation and malnutrition if no solution is found.
North Korea, which is officially called the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, is led by a single socialist party headed by Supreme Leader Kim Jong-un. North Korea currently has a population of about 23 million people. North Korea is located in East Asia. It is bordered on the north by China and on the south by South Korea. North Korea's eastern and western borders are met by the Yellow Sea and the East Sea, which is also called the Sea of Japan.
North Korea maintains an extreme dictatorship, a worshippers' cult, and a country closed off to the world. This keeps both the outside world and its own society in the dark. The lack of first-person knowledge concerning North Korea is a problem that propagates its issues. The North Koreans are a proud society and they have attempted to hide their poverty. They have gorgeous museums, for example, with huge chandeliers and polished floors, but the water doesn't run in the bathrooms. This feeling of pride is one reason why they are reluctant to ask for full international food aid.
So the World Food Program states that with a population of 23 million, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea has been excluded from globalization and economic development. The country does not produce enough food and has limited emergency food stocks and scant foreign currency reserves to buy food on the international market. Much like the U.S., North Korea has a long history of extreme food insecurity. The first devastating North Korean famine began in 1994 and lasted 4 years. An estimated 1 to 3.5 million people died either as a direct result of starvation or illnesses related to starvation in what was called the Arduous March.
Today, 28% of all children in North Korea under the age of 5 are chronically malnourished. 16 million are food insecure to some degree. That's 66% of the population. The lack of food and nutrition stunts growth, and an estimated 40% of the population is stunted. These levels of food insecurity are due to a variety of geographical, economic, and political issues. Barely 20% of land that is fit for growing crops is available. In addition, North Korea is victim to a vicious cycle of floods, droughts that destroy crops, soil, and homes. Much of the country has been deforested in an attempt to create more farmland. However, this made the soil drier, less fertile, and reducing crop success.
Because of North Korea's isolation and lack of trade or communication, the country has minimal agricultural diversity, inefficient farming practices, lack of mechanization and fuel supply, and limited access to external agricultural resources and funding. North Korea's lack of education on developing farm practices leaves it at an inefficiency disadvantage. North Korea finds itself unable to sustain its population. Thusly, international aid plays a large part in feeding the North Korean people. However, strains over North Korean nuclear developments have decreased imports of food aid. In 2012, the U.S. suspended food aid after North Korea launched a satellite that dishonored an agreement between the two countries.
The Democratic Republic of Korea is also suspected of staging their nuclear successes in an attempt to scare countries into offering food aid. This lack of trust further removes other countries from providing aid. North Korea's isolated yet aggressive politics have led to many such incidences that estrange other countries, reducing food aid and furthering the insecurity issue. North Korea's government is focused on the military, preventing money from being used to fund food programs that would help the population. Reuters, an international news agency, states that North Korea spends more than 33% of its national budget on the military. North Korea spent $1.3 billion on its rocket program in 2012, enough money to buy 4.6 million tons of corn.
Roberta Cohen of Brookings.edu reports that insufficient import of food, collectivized agriculture, over-reliance on a failed public distribution system, misguided currency reform, and excessive expenditures on nuclear weapons production in the military undermine food security. The greatest possibilities for North Korea require that the country increase its agricultural production in a sustainable manner. Policy decisions need to be made by North Korea and national aid organizations that guide the development of farming practices and the food distribution in North Korea.
The FAO maintains that North Korea should increase its domestic production by adopting conservation agriculture, which is based on minimal soil disturbance, permanent soil cover, and crop rotations, together with appropriate mechanization. In addition, opening their doors and widening trade perspectives would be a great benefit to North Korea. North Korea can only hope to receive the support necessary to rebuild its economy and agriculture when its nuclear ambitions are abandoned and it fully engages in the international community.
North Korea raises the question of justice. Is it just only to send aid to the starving people of Korea, or do we also have a responsibility to monitor our aid in order to protect our own country? Is it ethical to withhold help to a country because we see them as a threat? Propaganda against the United States is prevalent in North Korea, and many Americans believe that the distaste between the two countries should hinder our aid. Food insecurity is not an uncommon problem in today's world. But if North Korea can move forward and break free from its isolated past, there's hope that North Korea's political, ethical, and economic barriers can be surpassed. Food insecurity is a problem of the present, but it doesn't have to be a problem of the future. Thank you.
What information or pictures or whatever did you decide to leave out of your presentation, and why or how did you make that decision?
Well, we actually came across quite a few graphs that demonstrated the food prices and how they dropped since North Korea's excluded itself from the rest of the global economy. But they were all really complicated, involved a lot of factors, and usually several graphs in several different countries. So we wanted to limit the really complicated graphs and focus on the more minimal ones that were easy to read.
Okay. For Maddie, you mentioned Reuters, you mentioned the FAO, you mentioned you had that quote from the military. How did you use the conclusions and questions that other organizations had come up with to advance your own research or your own conclusions?
Well, we just took into factor their situation and used our own opinions to kind of guide how each solution would work, and kind of plan out in our heads how each solution would work, and chose the